All right, let's return to the NFL. And, Bo, we have this sound, don't we? So this is Cam Hayward.
Yeah, he big-time defensive player, literally big, too. He's a massive human being for the Steelers. And he was on a podcast, and they asked him a question about Aaron Rodgers coming to the Steelers, what his thoughts were. Here's what he had to say.
I ain't doing that or darkness retreat. I don't need any of that crap. Like, either you want to be a Pittsburgh Steeler or you don't. That's simple. That's the pitch. If you want me to recruit, that's the recruiting pitch. You know, Pittsburgh Steelers, if you want to be part of it, so be it. If you don't, no skin on my back.
Your thoughts?
I just it didn't sound as bad as I read it.
No, and to be fair, this is a little backtrack. The I don't know if Bo can look it up.
Because it was
gentleman
like,
who podcasted
can you make a pitch to him?
Yeah, his point was, hey, man, you're a big-time guy with the Steelers. You know, make a pitch to Aaron Rodgers. He says, hey, man, come on a darkness retreat with me for a couple of days and talk to me. That was the
but here's my thing. And I know we see the stories, and we talked about it before.
Mm-hmm.
Teams being held hostage. He's a free agent. And I don't understand. I know people would like to, I guess there's 3 teams vying for him, and maybe, you know, after Aaron Rodgers picks a team, then the other 2 teams can figure out what they're going to do.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's anything that you have to rush. I really don't. I think this is a free agent period. And I don't know why people are bothered. Like, half the people say he can't play, but then they're mad at him that he hadn't picked one of the 3 teams that want him.
Stop looking at me.
I'm looking at you.
I don't like how you're looking at me.
Does that make sense to you?
Just say what you're saying. You got to look at me.
Let me see. If you can't play, then there would be nobody asking you or wondering, when you going to make a decision? You would just be like, there's no decision to be made. Where do you think, and here, let's just flip it here.
Okay.
Where do you think he's going to wind up? Honestly, I know you said he should retire. He's not retiring.
Well, no, I said that was the 4th option. Like, it's a legitimate to me. He doesn't have to play. Like, that was my point. Was if somebody wants him, I totally get that. Hey, if you're wanted, why stop? My point was you don't have to keep playing. Like, dude, you had an amazing career, first ballot Hall of Famer, one of the best we've ever seen. You don't have to keep going through this. Was my point. But let's assume he does play. I think at this point, it almost has to be the Steelers, because the Giants can say, hey, we made a pitch, we tried, but there aren't really great expectations for us anyway. Plus, we might get a Shedeur Sanders, or, you know, we trade up. Maybe we trade up to get to one.
Those guys are running scared in New York.
You're saying they wanted Aaron Rodgers? I don't want that. That's added pressure, Rob. I'd rather say, man, look, I'm telling you, we got something coming. We got neighbors. We got Shedeur Sanders. We're building. We're coming. See. Look, we're on our way. I'd rather that than Aaron Rodgers, who's supposed to be the savior, and you got to win.
2-15, and they're going to say, okay, well, that's good.
But if we won those last 2 games of the season, now sold hope. We won the last 2 games of we on our way. I come in with Aaron Rodgers, and we go, 7-10.
But you got Shedeur to be there as well. If you're
they
the
do
Giants,
have to make that. They have to still
draft. They have to have
him,
and then that's your selling point. Is the franchise didn't fall off the cliff, right?
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh my God, we got to get rid of these guys. We had a terrible year the year before. Then they bring in they bring in Shedeur Sanders. They don't know what they're doing. Whatever, it was terrible.
Ruin another career or something.
Exactly, You know what I mean? Like, that's the danger.
So that's why I go back to the Steelers, because the Steelers have put all their eggs in the Aaron Rodgers basket. And people have talked about the bromance Tomlin and Aaron Rodgers have about each other. They sing each other's praises and whatnot. So that almost has to happen, because from what we're understanding, what we read, the reports are, Russell Wilson, offensive coordinator, don't have a great relationship. They've already put it out there that, hey, you can go, they called it the distant plan B with Russell Wilson. So to me, it becomes, what do they do? Justin Fields is gone. Russell Wilson is the distant plan B, and he might be feeling like, I don't want to be the seconds. They almost have no choice but to make this happen any way possible. So it almost feels like he has to be a Steeler, because, again, The Giants can just fall back on, hey, we're going to draft Shedeur, we can sell hope. The Vikings obviously have their guy in J.J. McCarthy, so they can say, hey, you know what, don't scrap it, don't worry about it, we'll move on. We got our guy, here we go. We're going to, we have our the new J.J. eras upon us. The Steelers, this has to happen. But one thing I will say, I'm not mad. To your point, you say Aaron Rodgers has the right, hey, it's free agency, he has the right to take his time. I actually don't disagree. and that he's doing what he's allowed to do. You do what you are allowed to do. And if the Steelers and the Giants have put themselves in this position where they have to wait on his timing, then they have to wait on his timing. Again, they put themselves in a position where you're all we have. So if he needs to take his time, he needs to take a darkness retreat, he wants to wait it out, talk to his family, whatever, that's his right. And they're in this position where they're on the Aaron Rodgers clock now, which is crazy to think that this isn't 36-year-old him where, okay, I'd be on that clock too. This is 41, going to be 42 in December, year-old him, and they're on his timetable, which is kind of wild to think that the Steelers have put themselves in this position.
Well, I think that the Vikings are also another very viable reason. He's familiar with the NFC North, the whole thing of going back there. Brett Favre went and played for the Vikings, and they got to the NFC Championship game, at the end of his career as well. I'm just saying there's a lot of
You think that
stuff
matters
there.
to him? I mean, I'm really asking
No.
because he's
To
aware.
who?
Aaron, does he not want to, I don't want to be literally,
I
I've
think-
sat behind a guy, played at the same team, then I go to the Jets like he did, then I go to the Vikings. He's kind of an awareness
I don't think
documentary, has his own documentary while
I
he's
think
still
he can
playing
look
out.
at that and go, boy, they were 14-3. They run the ball well.
Defense still
the
really good.
Defense is good. They got a lot of things, and Kevin O'Connell has made his name.
That's true.
In turning these quarterbacks around, and so there's a lot there on the plate to say, hey, let me give it one more shot with a good team, and maybe they'll be able to take care of me and make sure that they protect me at the offensive line and all that, and give it a shot. If Sam Darnold could put up 35 touchdowns and 4,000 yards behind that line, maybe I could do the same thing. And
to your point,
that's it.
Josh Dobbs, remember him?
Yes.
We wasn't even thinking about him. He came out the blue and balled out for the Vikings for most of that year that he was there as well. So there is some truth to Kevin O'Connell
That's
being
all
able
I'm
to get the best
saying.
out of you. But the Steelers, I mean, so let me flip it and throw it at you. Mike Tomlin, again, they let Justin Fields go. You and I talked about that for a whole season. That's fine. That's their prerogative. Russell Wilson, they've kind of said, no, we're good. We're going to move on unless some break in case of emergency, something happens, with Aaron Rodgers. Let's say Aaron Rodgers just goes to the Vikings. Let's say, for whatever reasons, he goes there. Or he goes to the Giants because he's like, I don't want to leave New York. I feel like I just home. What do the Steelers do? Literally, what do they do? If Aaron Rodgers, because what if,
They could bring
don't
back
forget about the
Russell
Browns.
Wilson. What do you mean?
Because what if Russell Wilson, who had the meeting with the Browns, goes there? Hey, man, Browns were 11-5 just 2 years ago. They got Myles Garrett. Maybe they're not as bad. Deshaun Watson isn't playing well.
But there's always a chance that they could decide to make a trade with somebody. You know what I mean? Okay.
Go ahead.
We don't have
Kirk
a guy,
Cousins. They might have to make a call to go see if they get Kirk.
And make a trade or something. So there's
'Cause that's
always a
what's
quarterback that'll be available. But I hear your point. All right, 877-99 on Fox. I know we talked about it. He doesn't have to rush or whatever, but if you have to pick a spot, we got 3 spots.
Mm-hmm.
Where should Aaron Rodgers go? Is it to follow the Brett Favre history, legacy?
Brett Favre final tour.
Right? Is it that? Is it going to the Giants to just hold a spot until the quarterback that they draft is ready? Or is it, Pittsburgh and trying to help Mike Tomlin finally win a playoff game or whatever? At least go out on
He does need to figure that out.
He really needs a playoff.
All right now.
All right.
Mike.